I feel like we need do we need a joke?
Bonus points if you can tell me who hit him and killed him.
Oh, if you had not asked me this, I would have known it.
I know he was driving you lose.
He was driving a Mercury.
No, a pickup truck.
Stop it. Let's go.
All right. Showtime.
Come on.
It's important stuff, Chrissy.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a podcast designed for the world of low-dollar racing. And why did my speaker turn off? An oddball
battery is low.
Whatever kind of Champ or track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. We even think you Drifto hella flush guys are all right, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes from the world of low-buck racing. Yeah, and if you can handle it, Chrissy will give you just a tip. I'll be your music listening marshal. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks to coming back to another Gilded Edge and apparently music-free episode of our podcast. Welcome to episode
anyway.
31.
We'll get that fixed for the closing credits there.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I hear it.
We've heard that before.
Battery low. So
funny.
Jeff, aside from working on your speaker there, what else are you working
on? Early listener feedback was I complained too much about work, so I'll just say that we are entering the silly time at work. So I've been there pretty much every day since we last. But last Saturday in 40, was that
like pillow fights or?
No, just everything.
No pillow fights in a college dorm.
John Belushi in Animal House.
And pillow fights do not exist in college dorms.
Every spring the trees filled with underwear.
The ones you go into.
And the toilets explode. No, but last Saturday was about 40 degrees, so Jim and I switched all these snow tires off of our cars, because if we didn't do it last weekend, we weren't going to do it for 3 more weeks. So all the winter... So all the winter tires came off, all the summer tires came on. Jim, of course, drives an IS 350, so he shows up with also, incidentally, everything you need to change an oil. And he says, oh, yeah, I totally need an oil change, so we're doing that, too, today. I was like, son of a biscuit. What do you mean I'm changing your oil?
Well, that's good. It's better than him bringing it all up here than this
exactly.
Or better than he's not doing it at all.
Yeah.
That's also helpful.
So we change his oil. IS 350, by the way, cartridge filter. First time I ever did one of those. Never did one of those before.
They're brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I think we should all have them. So he put on his summer tires, and one of the fronts had a big chunk out of it. And the very next day, driving on 422, he blew his tire. So he came back last night, and I changed another tire on his car and put back on one of the snows.
Oh, so he's running one snow tire on an axle?
On a front, yes.
It's a front. It's fine.
It's a front.
He only drives to the train station and back, except the weekends.
Say, isn't that an all-wheel drive car?
No. He's got the rear. Okay. The F Sport. Right. Of note, Jim is going to learn how the tire rack free road hazard replacement warranty is on those Continental Extreme Contact Sports. So we're going to be able to report back on the quality of the service he receives from Tire Rack.
Hashtag they should totally sponsor us.
Totally.
They're the best.
They are wonderful.
Actually, I have used the road hazard warranty from Tire Rack and found it rather painless.
Excellent.
Everything from Tire Rack is painless. I've got all of my suspension warranted with them.
Well, that was through Coney.
Wow, like the stuff you guys just replaced 2 weeks ago?
Oh,
that was through Coney.
Right now. Because I bought them through.
Right, but at this point we are on our second set of Coney FSDs on the Mazda after the first set lasted over 100,000 miles because they rusted away, and Coney just keeps replacing them one by one. So now we've.
But yeah, no, I was thinking we bought them from Tire Rack, so all the receipts from them.
I am comparing different suspensions or options for the Tank Cat, and so Coney just moved up a notch in the standings.
They've
gotten that outstanding of customer service,
without a doubt.
I've never,
absolutely.
I don't think anyone's ever said, "Man, I shouldn't have bought those Coneys."
The Bilsteins are getting some good reviews, and then there's some other oddball stuff out there. And I've raced on some Penske's, and that's all big buck stuff. So
Penske's are more than you paid for the car.
Yes, that's yes.
And
how much
this
better
is unimportant right now.
That's
right now, it's what you're working on, Chris. What you're working on?
Me?
We have so much to talk about.
That's true.
Today
We do have a very busy show. All right, I'll go faster. I finished the floor except the kitchen. I know. I can't do the kitchen until we take the bottom cabinets out, and I'm not doing that because then we have no sink. But I did all of the rest of the floor. It is 100% done, including all the stupid, terrible end pieces by the wall that have to be individually drilled and hammered and set and all that stuff. All done.
What are you going to do when the kitchen's done in that house?
Build more race cars.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll start landscaping projects or something, or take up heroin. It seems like a good time-consuming hobby.
Let's not do that.
Right. It's about as expensive and time-consuming though. I brought the Civic's motor all torn down. I brought that to the machine shop. That is over there with all the parts it needs for the lower end of the motor, which is nice. Tomorrow, we are going to go get the Civic and the NSX and Scooty out of storage and bring them home.
Yay!
Is it that warm there?
It's going to be 66 tomorrow and 75 on Friday and Saturday. So I took Friday off. I'm going junkyarding to get things that we need for the race season, for the race car, and then I'll probably try to fix the window on the NSX. But we'll talk about that in next week's What You're Working On.
You don't want to jump ahead.
Hey, Chrissy, what are you working on?
Oh, okay. I am not quite frantically, but working on logistics for another community event that I am putting together, a cleanup project in our town. So we've got about 22 different groups that are cleaning up. And so it's just a lot of logistics. Make sure we...
Is this your Parks and Recs or through your job?
Yep. Nope. Parks and Rec. Yes, an extracurricular that takes up a lot of my time, but that's okay. And we're still working on taxes, so eventually that will be out of here too.
How could you still be working on taxes?
Ask Jeff.
I can explain that.
Yeah. You don't need to. The masses don't need to know our tax problems.
The race team taxes have to happen before the personal taxes can happen because we are an incorporated business, and the tax man
terrible at it too.
The tax man did not like us very much this year. That's all I'll say.
Because letters didn't make it to us.
Yeah, it's ugly
and stuff. Right. Anyway, so that's why it's still now. They won't be late. They're
because the state of New Jersey.
Because there it is. That's always the answer. Because New Jersey.
Well, I mean, tax day isn't until Tuesday, so you got plenty of time.
I got plenty of time.
Yes, can. Because New Jersey.
Okay, Matt, so what are you working on?
All right, just got back from NOLA. We'll talk about that later in the news and notes. Been checking or chasing the check engine light that we talked about on Project Tank Cat, which is the officially new name for the Boxster. And I got my hashtag Grid Life tickets, y'all. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So Grid Life South, come down to Road Atlanta. I'll be one of the instructors. You guys should all come down. It's a great time. It's in August.
And if you pay extra, you don't have to have Mental as an instructor, so it's okay.
It's a fundraising effort. Every dollar raised to not have me as an instructor goes to charity. I don't know. So, yeah.
The best part about having Mental as an instructor is you can request the closed-faced helmet so he doesn't talk so much. News and notes time. Mental, you mentioned you're going to talk about NOLA, so start there.
I did. So went down there racing with the Team Tetanus, the runners-up to the national effing champion, Three Pedal Mafia. So they were playing with mechanicals all weekend. The neon broke while I was driving it, and it didn't just break the axle. It broke the axle nut while augering out the knuckle and also destroying the upper shock mount all at once.
And they were like Saturday, right? They were early Saturday, some of their issues.
And the Takata ventilated a block with Dr. Mom driving that one, and the Porsche decided it didn't need axles. Right? Yeah, the 240SX. Yeah. And then the Porsche decided it didn't need axles, and then they went to Napa and got new axles, and it didn't like those either, so they didn't get that one back on the track until Saturday. But what was great is the Rotson team showed up with a truly epic, and you've probably seen the pictures on the Instagram. They called it the WTF 40, Ferrari F40 tribute. It was just really, really well done. Now, it was
a crappy Fiero kit car, right?
Yeah,
that has sat in a field upside down for 30 or 20 years at this point.
And they hammed it up. They left the patina on it. It was great. Now, they destroyed their front suspension twice and literally built one from scratch. But yeah, so it was a good car and it ran clean. property devaluation, Brian Pollack, listener to the show, and his 302 powered E36 was battling it out with the last of the tetanus 240Zs, literally for second and third all weekend. They were chasing each other down, and then the 240Z decided to do a big, long first gear pull in the pits Sunday morning, which put them right in the penalty box. And, well, yeah.
That's a shame.
Stepped on their own wieners, huh?
Pretty much. And it's not like property devaluation didn't have a couple of conversations with the judges too. But yeah, so in the end, and honestly, good running car, good running bunch of drivers. But Blue Goose, that Audi 4000 Quattro, just unstoppable, relentless machine. The thing would just come around you on three wheels in a corner. They drove clean. They drove fast. They could have stopped driving at 3:00 on Sunday and won. And no one, so good guys. So I spent most of Sunday underneath Steph Schrader's Porsche, the Porsche lump. Big surprise, didn't work out well.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
It was problem after problem. She's going to get that car sorted out, but
next year, in the next 2 years.
Well, when she quit,
when she sells it, and somebody else
quit buying other bad race cars too. Yeah, she still has the 411. And so they created the regional award, and it was the Porsche Cup because it was tetanus. Steph, and they gave it to a 914 of all things because they completed the most laps. So. Now, you talked about the infamous Spank four-door LeBaron, which I mistakenly identified as the swoopy lozenge-shaped LeBaron. And the funny thing behind that, it was actually picked up by Jay Pellegrini, who is the go-to guy if you own a high-performance sports car or you got a race car in New Orleans. He's a fantastic mechanic. They run a really good race shop. And so they decided, Chrysler LeBaron, that's exactly what I need to advertise my racing capabilities. Broke the fuel filler neck on it Saturday, and they spent all Saturday and part of Sunday junkyarding to find a truck filler cap to put back on that thing. It was hysterically bad. And, yeah, I think they got judge's choice out of that one. So that was awesome.
So it was a K-car-based LeBaron, right?
Well, it was a later K-car based, not the original always squatting in the back K-car based, but the mid
slightly
90s
erased.
Right.
The before the cloud car generation.
Yes. And they left the Lando roof, but then bolted on like one of those double level rear deck lid spoilers on it. And they wrapped it all in shiny metal tape. It was hysterical. And Jay Lamb wrecked his rental car. You can see that on the 24 Hours of Lemon's Instagram page.
Nice.
Was it a Range Rover?
No, it was a Malibu.
Because Jay historically is known for flipping his Range Rover press car.
Auto Journo, yes, absolutely. Now, and also, we talked about the Champ Car race, the Champ Car Marathon 14 Hours of Daytona. Car 225 in an SC300 won it over with 251 laps. 49 seconds behind them is the Cone Crushers, which in a 14-hour endurance race, 49 seconds is a pretty tight, that nail biter right to the end. I mean, that's one flat tire and you're done. 7-foot Tommy 2, which actually won the B class, was just a lap behind those guys. Our buddy Hong Nor, they were 57th with 211 laps. The Grassroots Motorsports Junkyard Turbo Miata was 46, but that got them in second in B class. Team Fat Crack was 88 with 161 laps, and unfortunately, Never Start Racing's John Artman's Dodge Neon shattered its clutch 30 minutes in. They spent 3 hours replacing it. They got back on the track, but it took them 3 hours, and so they got them 64th. Oh, I'm sorry, not 64th. They got them 90th. 96 laps. But the Maserati Bi-Turbo of Dead Pedal Racing finished with 201 laps. That means that car ran the whole time. So they don't update their webpage.
Did?
Maserati Bi-Turbo running for 14 flipping hours. And that got them fourth place in Class D. So bravo, Dead Pedal Racing.
They should bring that to Lemon's event. That'd be an IOE slam.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. Well,
I'm surprised they didn't. Champ was okay with that.
Well, Champ lets anything run. They like weird stuff. Their rule set doesn't give award to the weirdest things.
No, it's a points-based system that can give, let's all agree the smartest person on our screen right now is Chris, and he gets a headache reading their rule book, so that says something.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but there was a pretty bad crash at the race.
I did. I put the video under Chrissy's Just the Tip.
Oh, okay. I actually put it in here. we can make sure it's in the show notes. So if you're listening, just hit the show notes and check it out. But it just goes back to don't stop on the racing surface. BMW Miata went right into the back of a BMW, and there's a lot of speculation on the internet about what went wrong. But there's a lot of people saying it is the exact place where Memo Gidley had basically the same accident a couple years ago at the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Interesting. What's great is that the driver walked away, and it's a gut-wrenching crash.
It's a horror crash.
You kind of cringe as you're seeing that.
Oh, I just watched it.
Exactly.
Oh no!
And then he gets hit, and you hear him go, "Oh!"
Yeah. He grunts for a couple of minutes.
It comes up so fast.
So fast.
Great is, and Chrissy's going to talk about it. Wear your gear, folks, because he walked away from that one.
Oh, I don't like it. Okay. You have to watch it in the show notes.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the tip is, but basically the tip now from Jeff is don't stop on the racing surface.
Oh, dear God, don't stop.
Do everything you can to get on the grass.
You don't get out of the car. All right.
Yep.
Chris, I know you wanted to skip this part.
Yep. We'll do it next time.
Next week.
Jeff,
are we ready to move on or should I do one of my next stories or just go on?
Do one of mine.
So I'm going to do this one because this one is kind of timely. The 2019 Camaro just came out at one of the auto shows. It's got a nice look. It's not what I'm here to talk about. There is a new option. You know, Camaro pretty much sold to rednecks everywhere. There's a new option for the non-rednecks. Are you ready for this, Mental? Are you redneck enough? 2.0 turbo 4-cylinder. 1LE. For those of you who don't know, 1LE is the basic racing model, the road racing model. The four-cylinder turbo has 275 horsepower, but the better dampers, the bigger sways, the stiffer ball joints and bushings, 20-inch rubber, staggered all around, summer rubber, all from the SS.
I don't caresville.
Well, but this is what it does.
They're targeting the EcoBoost.
It's basically the road race option because it's the lightest one with the most handling. Go ahead, Chris.
In the SCCA Nationals, a 2-liter turbo Camaro won D-Stock by a dramatic margin, actually. So there's even talk that this is now the overdog in D-Stock. They have to move it to F-Stock where the other V8s used to play.
Yep. So it's basically I think that was the NAV6 that won that, wasn't it?
Nope, it was a 2-liter turbo.
It was a 2-liter turbo. So they've been selling the NAV6 1LE again, all that stuff, but with the V6 motor. It's only $1,500 more than the 4-cylinder, but it's got like 60 more horsepower. So if you ask me, that's the one I would probably pick. Anyway, It came out. It's definitely interesting that they're really hitting the road race crowd with a Camaro. Who knew?
And if you really want to hit the road race crowd and hit road racing in general, here's a great way to do it.
Josh is going to read the commercial.
Speaking of racetracks, Extreme Experience puts you in the driver's seat of some of the world's best supercars at over 20 racetracks in America and Canada with no speed limits, no shifting restrictions, and no governors. Head to xxspeed.com to choose your supercar. Find a racetrack near you and start making history of your own. 7 models of exotic cars / superstars to choose from. 20 plus tracks and a year location in New Orleans, LA with a 3,200 feet straightaway. Pro instructors like Chris or Mental or my dad Jeff in the car with you, helping you explore the car's limits and how to drive the racing line. Save 25% off when you use the code EveryoneRacers at xxspeed.com to book today. Extreme Experience. It's your turn. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Thanks, Josh.
Good job, Josh.
That is the most adorable endorsement ever.
So Josh and I do a podcast, and he really wanted to help out with today's podcast. Like me on Facebook to see Josh's podcast. But I just want to mention that xxspeed.com, we always talk about it being a good Father's Day present. Forget that. Mother's Day present. It's a lot closer, and your mom can race too.
Yep. And every instructor would rather ride with There's no good way to finish that sentence. Never mind. We'd all rather ride with your mom.
That's true. So let's get to today's topic. We put this on
Wait, no, you skipped. You get some listener feedback there.
No, I thought we were doing listener feedback as part of the topic.
Yeah, just to say, we had lots of great listener feedback this week, including the GDO man telling us to keep up the good work.
Oh, yes. And we will be doing lots of listener feedback as part of our main topic because we posted this in our social media and it absolutely exploded. Every racer out there has an opinion on least and most favorite tracks and who's got the best paddock and who's got the best bathrooms. Everything that you want to know about the racetracks, we have learned from not only traveling to all these godforsaken places, but also talking to our friends who have been to every corner of the world because if there's a racetrack, we will race it. Yeah. Even sometimes things that have no right to be a racetrack. English
or a hockey rink in the middle of the boardwalk in New Jersey.
Yes, absolutely. So today we're doing our favorites, bests of everything. So this is what you want to listen to find the place that you want to go to for your next race. We're going to start with an easy one. Next week, we're going to do worsts. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to chime in on our social media, if you've got something bad to say or a crazy story about something that happened horrible at a racetrack, tell us about it. Let's start with most favorite track ever in the world. Who wants to go first? Chris.
I think I'm going to say Road Atlanta, although Palmer was a close second because Palmer's so amazing to drive, but there's nothing else there. And if you also go off the track at Palmer, you hit a cliff. So,
and die.
Right, and you immediately die. But it's really fun otherwise. But Road Atlanta is a really just fun and challenging track. I mean, we spent a good one race there, and I don't feel like I am good at it at all yet. Even though I was running some good lap times, it is challenging. It is interesting. It's got pavement's in good shape. It was just a good time, even though it was snowing. And I know Johan, Johan agrees with me. He said, Road Atlanta, great facility and location. I didn't get enough time on the drive last December to form a valued opinion of it, but really looking forward to getting to know it this year. I will say it is terrifying in a snowstorm. I would agree with you. You had to find the wet line instead of the ice line when we were coming.
I think that was worse. It wasn't even just the snow; it was the ice. Yeah. It was it was that cold.
Yeah,
and it's a good the whole facility all around, everything about it is great, but the track itself,
we're talking
track. We're talking just the track. Just the track.
Talking about that later.
Yes.
Chrissy, go ahead. Tell us about your first track.
Okay, so and if you've asked me about this, or actually, and this was on Chris's list as well. My favorite track, I think ever, is the Ridge, which is in Shelton, Washington, approximately 25 miles northwest of Olympia, Washington. So, it's awesome. The views are beautiful. There are
we're talking
beautiful...
about tracks here. Come on, tracks.
Well,
location.
When you're driving, there's a lot of those redwood trees around. So I do look at the scenery because there's a lot of hills. So there's a crazy elevation changes. The track was really interesting. I didn't get enough time on it either because I feel like so the cars that I was driving with Spank, and I was driving a turbo mini that was broken. So we were kind of like limping around, and so it wasn't the best, but this is the track that my first time around, I almost endoed said mini because I almost did. Because there was a turn. They call that a turn. Is it similar to like a Laguna Seca turn?
Yeah,
what is that?
It's about a corkscrew?
Yeah, it's like the corkscrew. Oh. Yeah. You come into it, you cannot see where it goes. You just see the road fall off in front of you.
Yeah.
So I didn't turn well enough. It's a left, yes.
Left, yeah, like the corkscrew.
Yeah, so I went to not turn as much as I should have and went straight down. So fortunately, I ended up on some more pavement and it was fine. But it was a great track. So I think that's my favorite.
I'll say Russ Bentley loves that track too. He talks about it, and partly because it's in his backyard. I'm going to go to Road Atlanta, not for the same reasons that Chris has, but a lot of similar ones. I grew up at that track. I remember seeing Paul Newman race there. I remember going and watching the SEC runoffs. It's in my blood. I went there every fall. I did the defunct Panos school there, me and Patrick Dempsey, by the way.
Who had better hair?
Oh, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. Now, Patrick's got the dreamy blue eyes, but I think I got him on the hair. But the thing, like Chris, you mentioned, you don't have enough laps there to feel like you understand it. I've got hundreds of laps at Road Atlanta, and I think that's the mark of a great track, is there's always a nuance there. You always feel like there's something more to learn.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at, is that it's a track that, even though I've driven 20-something tracks with plenty of time, like I feel like I could be on that for a long time and learn it.
Exactly. And I love it. And there's a couple of tracks in this country that you drive on and you feel the history. Mid-Ohio just oozes history, and Road Atlanta is one of those tracks, and I love it.
If a track is oozing something, we should probably move on.
That's usually right after a Lemons race.
Sometimes it's a good thing. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, I went a totally different way, because your first love is always the deepest love. And I still miss the first place that I ever road raced, because we don't road race there anymore. And I'm sure my memory is way more elevated than it actually
it probably is.
But Shenandoah at Summit Point. I love Shenandoah. I think the length is great. I think it is complex enough. I think it is different enough. And the carousel is one of the favorite turns ever. I used to rock the boat through that carousel and pop out of there and pass so many people.
And when you used to see the mast in the shadow,
tilting sideways
next to you, so if you looked out the left of the car, you could see that and it would be right next to you. It was kind of
Or if you
scary.
were on the straight coming up to the carousel in the Civic, and you'd see the mast enter the carousel, and then you'd see the mast take quite a list to port. So. Yeah.
That was
absolutely. I really love Shenandoah, so I'm going to say there. Go, Mental.
Good.
Well, and there's something to that about it's the birthplace of the Three Pedal Mafia, if you think about it.
Sure, at least my part of it. Sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely not our most dominant track, which was New Hampshire Motorsports. I think we've won more stuff, or Jersey. Where have we won more stuff? Good question. Not the question for today. Let's keep moving on. Chris, what's our next question? What do we want to do?
One. Let's do facility. What's your favorite facility? Now, facility. I think we're talking. It's more than just. Now, last time we were talking the track itself. This time we're talking the whole facility, everything inside the gates of this place. And I started last time. So, Chrissy, why don't you give a go this one?
Well, and I noticed that we have the same answer, and it's probably going to be consistent with a whole bunch of people that we just said Barber is amazing. It's just, there's so many great things about this facility. And when we talked about facility, we talk about places to look, to watch the race, power, and we talked about paddock later. So Barber, it's wonderful. They are. The really interesting things going on there, all of the artwork and like little nuances that just make the whole place really nice. Do you have anything else to add, Chris?
I was going to say, do you want to read that listener feedback? I think that's really good.
Sure. Mitch Hicks said that Barber is an amazing track for a driver and spectators. It's the only track I would consider not wearing shoes in the shower.
Yeah. It's the details of Barber that I love. Like the little leaf prints in the stairs that are there on purpose, and the
little guy that's popping out of the little river.
Yes. The manhole cover,
yeah. The gargoyle coming up out of the pond, on purpose.
The hanging lady under the bridge.
Yeah,
she's newish.
Yeah, so Barber, just overall, it's everything inside the facility is nice. The track is nice. It's fun to drive. The paddock is nice. The all the artwork is wonderful. The building, like by the track, it has a wonderful big conference room in it. It's got good places to stand and watch. Right, the bathroom, everything in it is nice.
You can go inside and still see the whole track. It's great.
And we've got a lot of good feedback that agreed with me. Jerry Ringel said Barber's awesome. Enough said. Paddock is second to none. It's casual and easy to watch. Brett Sloman said Barber hands down best track. Showers, toilets, pit area. Road Atlanta's a close second for best track to race on, which that was what I just said.
What?
Yep. Michael Krenzer said agree, and Barber also had cheapest gas we've ever had at a race yet, so that's always fun.
You know what? That's
a good one.
Hey,
it is.
When we were on the boat and we were burning 10 gallons an hour, that really hurts. Santiago Daniel Iglesias said Barber because where else can you stand in an awesome museum and look out over a race or track day?
So true.
Good ideas. Mental, what do you think?
Mental.
So to that end, in 2014, my friends back in Oklahoma actually finished our Miata, got it running again so that when I came back from the desert, I could go racing. They couldn't go. My father, my own flesh and blood, has not seen me in 2 years. So he drives down from Atlanta to watch me race. And he sees that I'm not getting in the car right away. And he's like, hey, son, I'm going to go or pop over to the museum. I don't see my dad until 6 o'clock that night. Completely misses my stint in the car. Forget my son. He comes over and goes, oh, my God, son, I didn't even get halfway through that museum. That place is gorgeous. I'm like, hi, Dad. You know, the only one with your DNA and your last name. Son, you need to see that museum. So, yeah, so there's a lot to the details of that track. So,
yeah. I wrote Barber, and I didn't even go to the museum. So there you go.
It's a shame. Honestly, we had so much time to kill the one time we went there.
I went there one time with my dad, just to the museum.
That was a diss at you. The one time that you stranded us, and we spent the whole day, Chris's birthday.
Oh.
And we didn't have anything else to do, so we spent a whole lot of time at the museum.
We saw it all.
I deserve that.
My only trip to Barber, I was like track managing cats. Managing a team of cats.
Yes. Eating bread hills in Greece.
Eating bread hills in Greece.
Finger ball sandwiches.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
You said cats. Where were the cats?
I do have my favorite facility. And actually, I love all of the NASCAR-owned tracks. New Hampshire stands out, honestly, just because the covered and closable pit paddock. Like, you can shut the garage door when it's cold and miserable. We've had some great parties at New Hampshire. The showers are always clean and nice. Honestly, the same thing, though. Daytona, Sebring, all of those NASCAR-owned tracks, they really always have really good support facilities to support all the big money NASCAR teams. So I love the facilities at New Hampshire.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, I think, in the next section. Do you want to start with best bathroom, or should I just jump in with the reason I love the bathrooms at New Hampshire's Motorsports?
Go for it.
Bathrooms are next.
Yes,
I know.
Best bathrooms.
So best bathrooms.
I'm gonna
the bathrooms at New Hampshire. We use the NASCAR driver staff bathrooms, and they are big. They are clean. I have been in there where those guys are cleaning them, and I say, you guys rock. I don't know what you're doing, but this place is always clean. It's always warm on a cold weekend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So bonus points.
I've definitely lit that heater, though, in the bathroom when we get there.
I was going to say, it's a great place to thaw a frozen turkey in the showers. And
so bad.
Bonus
Sorry,
points.
Mom, who is served safe. Then now she knows that this is how he. Yes.
Bonus points in stall number 1. If you look up, there's a signature of Casey Kane / number 5 right on the top. I have that picture on my phone. I will post it on our Facebook page.
Awesome.
Nothing worse, nothing better than a multi-million-dollar professional racer tagging the bathrooms.
I'm going to agree. New Hampshire, I think, has the best bathrooms around. They have a ton of showers. The hot water seems to never end. They have both regular soap and pumice soap in the sinks. They clean it regularly.
I totally forgot about that.
They always have paper towels. The heaters are there. They have 2 heaters in there. I never really. You don't have to wait for much. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
I'm going the same. The women's is smaller, but it's just as nice. We have 1 heater instead of 2. There's 3 showers. I've never had to wait. Bathrooms are great. They're always cleaning them. That's what I got to go. The problem is actually we have to disseminate the bathrooms inside where the pit is. Great. The ones that are out for like the minions, terrible. Right. The ones as we leave the paddock. You go out to the other ones before, like, when you're leaving, as the end of the weekend. There's only cold water. They have little tiny doors. They're the worst.
And you pee in a trough.
No,
I know.
They recently got rid of the troughs.
They did?
Yeah, they got rid of the troughs. They have the waterless there. But that gives you an idea of the kind of shack that it is that had a trough. Now, those have showers on the end of them, but I've never seen anybody use them. Maybe because they're cold. I don't know. Yeah, there are showers behind the doors. It looks like closet doors on the outside. But it's apparently showers. I only know because I saw the door open once and said, "Oh, showers."
Oh, there's showers there.
I'm going to depart from the narrative because I didn't take showers into considerations. I put those under paddock. But years ago, I got to go watch the Formula One race at Yaz Island, and then I did a couple of track events while I was out there. And so
Where is that? What is this? What is
Yas Island is the Abu Dhabi circuit. It's the last stop on the Formula One tour.
Okay.
So it's in the United Arab Emirates. Now, Tony Milano, while telling us that Laguna Seca is his favorite track, which is on my bucket list, by the way, Tony, good job on there. He said the one I hate is Yas Marina. I think he's wrong. Now, the bathrooms, like everything in the United Arab Emirates, are ridiculously opulent. So if you're one of those kind of people like they talk about on the TED Talk that can't poop anywhere but home, you can poop at Yas Island. It is like having your own personal throne with lots of space, good internet. Don't act like you don't do it, while you're on the john. So I love the bathrooms at Yas Island. And because they have all the labor running around there, those things are never allowed to get even remotely dirty. You could perform surgery in a commode at Yas Island. And it
sounds like a great plan.
The Wi-Fi is strong in New Hampshire toilets also.
Yeah,
just gonna throw that out there.
That wasn't a question.
So I think we're talking about. Are we talking about the paddocks next?
We are going to talk about paddocks next
because that's slightly less important than bathrooms until your car's broken. But yeah, paddocks matter.
Well, so go ahead. You start it.
All right. So the best paddock. Now, this is the thing is it's no longer there. It's now the VW Graveyard. But an honorable mention to Texas World. And the reason I say that is a couple of years ago, an enterprising young guy who kept doing a lot of track days at Texas World Speedway bought a bunch of cheap mobile homes and then not mobile homes, but travel trailers and permanently installed them at Texas World. And you could rent them for like $40 a night. It was fantastic. And then he would stay there on track weekends and just come hang out. So I love Texas World. But again, going back to the NASCAR influence is New Hampshire still has one of the best paddocks because you can shut all the garage doors and get warm when it's cold. Chrissy, you've got something on this.
I disagree. While you get a garage at New Hampshire, if you don't get a garage, you don't have power. It is so hard to find power. You remember when we scrambled around to try to find a power for the far side
for the RV?
There was one place to get power, and nothing else over there had power.
It's how the other half lives at New Hampshire. It's either you're in the garage.
Either you get a nice spot or you don't. Absolutely.
And you scramble, and even the power that's in the part where the garages are, all of the sides, there is one power per hundreds of feet.
Yeah, 100. Absolutely.
Right. So there's
one plug per bay in there. Yeah.
I had not considered that, but you're absolutely right. And when you're talking about that, I'm thinking of the H.G. Wells Time Machine, where the Mordors and the people that like to live above the surface.
Yeah.
Can I nominate that for the bizarrest aside ever on our podcast?
I think that's going into my what happened to the show this week is mental quotes H.G. Wells.
So
let's keep going. Who else has a paddock thought? Go, Chrissy. You said you had
I think all of us have the same one for this, or a lot of us do. I think we said Barber because they have a lot of power. They're so clean. Everything's so nice. They're cleaning up after everybody. The bathrooms are really nice. They are really cold, but they need a heater. We should probably tell them about that. Your bathrooms would be great if you just heated this place because it's actually colder in the bathrooms than it is outside. But and then there's also awesome places to watch, just like we've said. So I'm going to say paddock, and it's nice because it's tiered, so you have plenty of places to watch. That's mine.
Chris, do you agree with that? Because I'm going a different direction.
I'm going a different direction, too.
All right, so I'll go next. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, fine.
All right, sorry. I'm going to say New Jersey Motorsports Park. The paddock in New Jersey Motorsports Park has great garages. There's a decent amount of them. There's a lot of them. And there's a ton of power in the camping area. It's wide. It's flat. Yes, it's really easy to get to. There are gas pumps at both sides of the track. So if you need to get gas, you can always get it. There's decent grandstands.
If you have a red gas can.
If you have a red gas
can,
they'll
pump it right into your car, but they have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because New Jersey.
There's a ton of electricity. The paddock is big. It's wide. It's open. And free air shows if you go on the right weekend. New Jersey Motorsports Park, best paddock.
Jeff, I agree with you. Actually, that was my answer, too. For all the reasons you said, that there's lots of garages. There's power everywhere. So no matter when you show up, you're still going to get power. There's hotel rooms right on the main straight. The VIP, right above the one row garages is a set of just hotel rooms. So you're right there. If you're a high roller, you can go rent one of the condos that are right there for the weekend. Those are available to rent too.
And if you're a high enough roller, you can buy a condo.
Right, exactly.
Who wants to do that, though, really?
The showers, the bathrooms are big with lots. Like, I've never waited for a toilet at New Jersey, and then in the hangar bathroom. And then there's the ones right by the track, too, for if you don't have to wait. They've got the tower for spectating that's right there. Really, I think it's a really wonderful paddock.
Awesome. So I guess the next thing we're talking about is overall experience, right?
I think location. You're going to go.
Should your location?
Overall experience. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're
overall
right.
experience.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what it is too. Like, 'cause I think this kind of overlaps a little bit, but experience is the whole thing. Your whole visit to the track and to the area and to the facility and everything about the stay you have where you're going. I think that's how we say it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mental, why don't you start this one?
So my best overall experience, I have to give an honorable mention to Hallett Motorsports Park in Oklahoma. And it's got all the ingredients to be a terrible experience. It's a very bare paddock. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a good track, but it's one of the last great family-run tracks in the country. Connie runs it. Connie owns the track. She doesn't even have an office. She has a desk in the grill. If you've been there twice, she knows you by name. She comes out and hugs you. It is just a great family atmosphere. It feels like it would be terrible because they have to halt when they do a 24-hour race there. They have to halt the race to open pit roads so people, because there's no way to get inside the paddock without crossing the racing surface. So it's got everything going against it in the family feel atmosphere and just the generalized, hey, we'll just let that kind of go. We'll make it work attitude of everyone that works there. Just it's great. And they resurfaced it a couple of years ago. It's a very challenging track to drive. I've never walked away from Hallett, not had a great weekend.
Okay. Jeff, what do you think?
So I actually put Barber in this. Everything that we already mentioned about Barber's facility, and I just think the track is better. If New Jersey's track was a little bit better, was as good as Barber's, it would probably trump it. But the tiered paddock is excellent. There could be a little bit more power here and there. My legs hurt still from walking up and down the stairs, hurting the cats. But the facility plus that great surface and those twists and those turns, and I'm still not there yet. I'm putting Barber.
Okay.
Who's next?
I'll go, I guess.
Okay,
I'm thinking experience. The difference to me, it's the whole thing. So I want a place that's a great track that I'm enjoying driving. It's a lot of fun. That has great views and scenery. And it's a nice place to be. I want a good paddock. I want good bathrooms. I want all these things, but I also want it in a great place that I also enjoy being when I'm not necessarily even at the track, so you can make a bigger time out of it. So I'm picking Sonoma.
Don't forget the sheep.
Plus the sheep. The sheep on the hill are hilarious.
I haven't been to Sonoma. Please describe the sheep.
Well, it's in there's big hills right up next to it, like almost little mountains. In the Northeast, we would call them mountains. In the West, you would call them hills.
Seriously.
So, but they're right next to the track, and when the sun goes behind the mountain, it gets cold, and it happens way before it gets dark because the sun goes behind the mountain. Anyway, there's grass on all these hills, and they have a herd of sheep that comes and eats the grass. So sometimes, as soon as the track's cold, they release the sheep, and they're super loud.
I know, they'll go in, they'll release them in there while track's on.
Well, they release them close to the track once it's cold. That's when you can get close to them, and you can hear how loud a herd of sheep is. Actually,
we've walked the track, and then so they just release them into different parts of the track, so they eat the grass between where the viewing area is and where the track surface is.
So do they ever get on the surface?
No. They're like pended.
Release the sheep has to be the most benign phrase ever uttered. It's not like release the Kraken or on my command release. It's just
sheep.
Release the sheep.
Release the sheep.
So it's all those things together.
Beep,
Plus,
I'm a sheep.
And then when we're in
Beep, beep, I'm a sheep.
You go
beep,
out and
beep, I'm a sheep.
Thank
beep,
you.
Beep, I'm a sheep.
You done?
They sound like.
Plus, when you're in Sonoma, so you can actually go up in Sonoma Valley and go to wineries, which is quite nice. You're not far from the Bay Area and all the nice things that are around there. It's just a great overall experience. great place to visit. I would recommend it. And hey, so would Duke Wilford, who replied. He said, Sears Point is my favorite track. Number one on my bucket list of things I'll probably never do. Well, try to make it a point to go. You can even make it a family vacation because of the overall great experience that it is visiting the Sonoma area.
It's true.
Nice.
Chrissy?
I was going to do a listener feed. Oh, go on, Chrissy. You do next. I'll do listener feedback later.
Okay, I also picked Sonoma. The garages are amazing. The garages look out onto the track, so you can be in your garage, you can be working on your car, just standing with your friends, and you can see what's going on half the track. It's awesome. The bathrooms are really great, and they're pretty close to everywhere. They have a nice meeting room. They have a grandstand, so great places to watch. You can sit all the way at the top, and quality hotels, as Chris said. It's close to everything, and I said the sheep. So I think Sonoma, and I think the people very much like Lemons. They seem to be very pleasant. They've always had good pit. Everybody is they're good pits, and I don't know. There's just minimal things to complain about.
It's also a very nice track to drive. Like it's well above average. A lot of good elevation changes, good sight lines. It's different. It's interesting enough. The surface is in good shape. I quite like it.
Flagging's always good. I mean, there's just nothing that
occasionally they pick up some flag.
Mental. You got something?
I want to bring this up because we're not going to mention this on this episode, but we'll be talking about it on the next episode. But Johan Samada mentioned CMP is one of his favorite tracks, and he says it's a great staff, very good facilities. Yeah. It's a fun track layout with unique features and he puts in there the swamp filled with poisonous snakes, the random Mario Kart turtles on the track, the kink, and then he says try the homemade Indian food at the gas station just outside the gate. You won't be sorry. I have to disagree with everything but that last point because it actually is good Indian food right outside the gate at that track. So I wanted to give CMP some good press on the positive show because we are going to light into them on next week's episode.
Well, on that note, there was a couple of votes for Lime Rock as best track overall, and we are also going to light up a little bit Lime Rock when we get there next week. But Greg Safarian said sometimes simple things have a level of complexity that is not obvious. Local talent kills it at Lime Rock because of the complexity of it. And I want to mention Chris Egan, young engineering mind, Chris Egan. Lime Rock is probably my favorite track to have driven so far. It's not very long, but the flow is just so damn nice. I could lap for hours and hours without getting bored, and watching races there is just so cool. No stands, just grassy hills to camp out on, and full ability to wander the pits watching repairs live. He misses going to see old ALMS races there.
That's legit. I'll give him that, yeah.
Awesome. So what is the last thing? Location, right?
I think, is it location or are we going to do bucket list too, or are we going to skip that?
Oh, yeah, we're going to do
location and bucket list.
Let's do location real quick. So location is basically where the heck is it, all right? I'm going to do this first. NJM Peaks, it's near my dang house. I go home and I get to get some sleep. I think it's not in the middle of the boonies. You can fly in and get there pretty quick. And we already mentioned free air shows.
Well, we'll see about that in May.
Metal, go.
Okay. Track location. I'm going back to Yaz Island because, if you've ever been to Abu Dhabi and you have the means, I highly recommend it.
Okay. Chrissy.
I didn't actually fill this in because I was trying to think of one that's different than what you guys picked. I was just trying to think, I think the best location is probably that it's close to things. So I'm somewhere between, I'm going with New Jersey, or I feel like Sonoma's not too bad either. So it's easy to get to, then that's what I'm going.
I'm totally picking Sonoma because New Jersey loses points because it is in New Jersey because of all the stupid rules.
And you have to go through Vineland to get there too. So I think that's why I'm not exactly.
You're not going to get ice cream at Blinker Ice Cream? Come on.
We did once in your janky truck, and then we couldn't get back into the janky truck.
We had to climb
through the window. And then we were trying to get to the Little Caesars to get a pizza on our way to the track with the Land Rover towing the Honda. And the police comes up to me. He's like, "Are you all right? Like, you lost? You don't?" Because obviously the waspy people in the Land Rover towing the race car
shouldn't be going to Little Caesars,
right? Yeah.
So basically, that was the New Jersey equivalent of "you ain't from around here, are you?"
He was generally trying to help. It was the police officer. It was good. So.
Now, I want to add in also Driveway Austin, which is, from a safety standpoint, a nightmare of a track because 6 feet up the track are giant trees. But terrible track in a great location because it is just outside of Austin, Texas, which is always a blast.
I don't think I actually gave my answer on this. Sonoma. All the reasons I said before.
You did. You said
fine.
And you said exactly the same for exactly the
same. Whatever. Go
That's
away.
Right, Chris.
Whatever.
Tell us about your bucket list track.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, great. VIR.
Oh.
VIR.
Yes, you do. God, yes, you do.
It is a long, windy roller coaster of fun, and my schedules and sanctioning bodies have never really lined up. I think I really want to try to make it there this year and with instruct with NASA. Like Hyperfest is going to be in the summer this year. That might be a good time to go. Yeah. It's like 6 hours from here, so it's just far enough to be annoying, but not far enough to make it like a real event. It's one thing going down to Road Atlanta, you have to plan for it, so be it. But even as far as pit race, it's 3.5 hours, 4 hours. Okay, we can squeeze that into a weekend. When it's 6+ hours, now it's just difficult. But I want to do it.
Nice. I would argue you want to try it in one of the 24-hour races because that track just goes dark after, and it's a whole new element to that track. It is a blast.
Let's drive it in the light first.
The races start during the day, then you drive it overnight.
I always get the 2 to 5 shift. That always happens. I'm going VIR too. And Watkins Glen. I have to put both of those on there.
Yes.
Those are just like when you say, "Oh, what's your favorite track?" and you're like, "Oh, I haven't been there. Sorry." So yeah, they're mine.
So is there any reason special on Watkins Glen?
No, just because people say that they should go.
Oh, okay. I have reasons for Watkins Glen. That's why I was asking.
Okay.
Menzel, you want to go next?
And I'm with Chrissy on this one. I've been trying to tick off all the legendary tracks: VIR, Road Atlanta, Sebring, Daytona, which Johan mentions. You drive Daytona and you're like, oh my God, I'm at Daytona. Oh my God, the Roval, super boring. But you're on the banking in turn 3 at Daytona. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. And Sebring, as Johan also points out, the best and worst track surface in all of motorsports because it's all concrete blocks that used to be a sack runway, and that adds a whole new puzzle that you have to solve while you're driving, and it is a blast. No elevation changes, but it is still incredibly challenging. I want to do Laguna Seca because I want to go through the corkscrew, and I want to do Road America. And if I can get those last 3 tracks, those are what I consider just the legendary tracks from back in the 70s, the heyday of motorsport and all that other kind of stuff that goes along with Mid-Ohio and Road Atlanta. Chris, I think you were first, and then Chrissy, you're right after him.
No,
we might say the same thing. I was disappointed with Road America. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
The racing surface is in poor condition. Like really poor condition.
Oh, okay.
Especially in the braking zones, the heavy braking zones. After we're going, it's so you can't even brake hard because it's so undulated from all the people braking so hard. It's actually the pavement up. It's made it like a washboard road, but just from people braking.
So you're braking on history.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Parnelli Jones made that surface for you.
It wasn't like the most interesting track either.
No,
it was okay, but
we had 500 horsepower. We were doing 140 in more than one spot on that track, and it was kind of boring. Like if you were doing it in a base Civic, you would do your taxes while you're going down some of these straights. I mean, it's
seriously. You would look at your watch. You would text a friend.
What were you driving that 500 horsepower?
The Mercedes.
Oh, you were in the Mercedes. This is got it.
One last.
All right,
I'll talk some other things I don't like about Road America next.
Yeah, right. We add it to our list.
So let me do my bucket list. We're gonna skip Hella Sweet and But Terrible and go right into our favorite part after this. Yes, because we can do it next week. So here's my bucket list track, and it is Monte Carlo. See, because this is where I first watched road racing. And I was a young boy, probably just as old as my son next to me. And I'm going to try and tell this story in a good way. They were showing the opulence of the town, and they were showing the women sunbathing in the French way. And then the ABC announcers from Wide World of Sports had to say, we must apologize, but we are directly feed from French television. Who allows topless sunbathing on television? We apologize. And I was like 9. I was like, cars, yachts,
Amories,
balloons,
ladies. Holy cow. I want this to be my life. So I'm going to say Monte Carlo, since that is completely unobtainium, because there's no way I'm going to do it.
I don't think they do track days at.
No, they don't do track days. But I'm going to do one that is obtainium because Chrissy already stole Watkins Glen for the same reason. I'm going to say Pikes Peak. I want to do Pikes Peak.
You mean the mountain or the road course? Because the road course is
mountain.
Okay. All right.
Pikes Peak hill climb. Let's move on. Anybody else have anything they want to say about favorite things anywhere, a favorite story? If not, we're going to move on to our favorite topic. Just
Wait. No, just let Josh say it because it's cute.
Josh.
Just the tip.
Thank you, Josh.
And now it's time. Safety tip from Chrissy.
Okay, great. So we are talking, hopefully you saw it. Hopefully these don't apply to you, but we're going to talk about some of the issues that we've been having with seatbelts, that they have been a recent issue. So the first one, looks like that there was a team that was, multiple actually, I think, scrambling in the race in New Orleans, and there's a new belts rule. So beginning 2018 season, harnesses with a manufacturing date but no expiration date are acceptable for 2 years after the manufacturer. So
this
if you're coming,
Lemons rule, correct?
This is a Lemons rule.
It's also a New Jersey rule, but now it's all Lemons.
Because New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So really the answer, and I know we've talked about it before, we've talked about belts, but just get the FIA belts. Has an expiration, not the instead of the manufacturer. So no confusion, just go and get the other belts. And the next one is about an issue that the SFI has decertified all Camlock safety harnesses made by Ruan Dragon and Ruan Dong Jin Long. They're under the brand names of Tanaka, Tenzo R, and PW.
Who made the killer airbags.
Yeah, so I
think Takata made the airbags.
Yeah,
Tanaka made the belts, and I don't think anyone has ever said, Tenzo R is really high quality speed products. Like I'll put them up on the same pedestal with Mugen and
with APC, APC performance products.
Did you name your cat Mugen?
Yeah, because Mugen is Honda's Formula One division, like the best of the best.
Hi,
she was just in here for
hijacking my thing.
So are.
Okay, so the moral of the story is, and hopefully you probably don't have those because they're ripoffs and whatever. Check your belts. We've talked about them before, but like race season is coming. Hopefully it's getting warmer, getting the cars out of storage. Check your belts. Make sure they're not expired. Get new ones before, because you have a little bit of time before races come, and make sure they're not moldy and washed.
You guys had yours restitched too. Is that an option? A little bit cheaper?
Yeah, we've had ours re-wept a couple times actually, the SFI ones, but now we went to FIA ones, and so we don't have to do it for another 4 years.
Okay, cool.
So just look at them.
Yep.
Yeah. What do they do when do they replace the webbing, or do they just inspect it?
No, they replace all the webbing, but the hardware is half the expensive stuff. Like that whole Camlock thing, that's not cheap. All the end fittings, all the little, the adjuster mechanisms, they just reuse all of those things, but put all new belt material.
Got it. So awesome. We're going to wrap up the show, but we're going to say this was only half the show. Next week, please join us as we're going to answer all the same questions, but we're going to tell all the crappy stories, all the worsts from all around the world. If you want to join in, find our social media, EveryoneRacers on Instagram, EveryoneRacers on Facebook, and EveryoneRacers@gmail.com. Tell us all of your horror stories of all the crappy tracks out there and all the crappy experiences, because we are going to unload without any malice. Just tell about all the crappy things.
Love and all the opportunity that's out there.
Just going to tell it like it is. That's all.
Sure.
That's just it. Yeah.
There's only a handful of places we wouldn't actually go back to, really.
Oh, no. We'll race anything anywhere.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
For me, it's like one.
John, maybe you're right. No. That was a little preview of
preview.
Everywhere else we go, we'll just bring a porta potty.
It's called an RV.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe with the button on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions or want to give us some show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or like our race team Facebook page, 3 Pedal Mafia Lemons Race Team. If you'd rather not venture into the void that is the Book of Faces, they can steal more of your information. Just email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com or find us on Instagram or Twitter, everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Look, I got the music to work. And keep the wheels down.